Hey, all right. Well, thanks for joining me on a Saturday on this podcast, which still is unnamed, and we're working on it. If you have a name for the podcast, feel free to either suggest it now and or later at the end of this episode.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, thanks for joining me, and feel free to introduce yourself. Let the viewers know who you are, what you're about, and like what's going on in your life.
Yeah, I'm Mo, and who am I? I'm a dancer first and foremost. So I've been dancing for a really, really, really long time. I've done some commercial work and as in commercials and in like some artists, some pop artists, some hip hop artists, and I'm also in education. So I've also been doing that for over, I think, a decade now. And I'm trying to step into something new finally. And I think I'm getting into this avenue of mental health and just like advocacy for children who are, I mean, it's beyond underprivileged, children who are really, really, really missing out on a lot of the fundamental things that they need in order to be successful in life. And like companionship and compassion and family. And I'm hoping that I can be somewhat of a bridge to help those kids get what they need.
Well, first of all, that's heroic. So congratulations on like stepping into like a new avenue of life. I think it's badass that you're so like multifaceted. Um, I don't know anybody who's essentially done three things that kind of interplay, but then like don't like yes, as you've danced professionally, like obviously you could teach dance, but you've also like taught like in the classroom. So like that's like those skill sets aren't necessarily like combined, but they're also not like completely 100% separate. I just
Yeah.
pick heavy things for real, so I don't really have like a lot of cool artistic talents and skills. So I'm a little jelly over here. Um,
Really? So like when you're doing cosplay, do you don't come up with those designs or you're not thinking about, the costume at all, or you just put something on? What do you do?
I get help.
Okay.
I get help usually when it comes to cosplay stuff. The cosplay for me is both like fun and difficult because it's like, you know, I just want to look like Goku so bad. Or
Hmm.
look like an anime character so bad. And then there's like there is a point to where like that desire almost gets like unhealthy. If
Oh
I'm
yeah.
being honest, like most people don't know this, but as the leaner you get, like the more visible your abs are for the majority of the population, the worse off your hormonal health is going to be. Like the less you'll be able to sleep, the more stress you're going to be under, the less you have the ability to handle like other things. And so like I look at it more instead of more of an art form, I look at it as my ability to handle and face struggle. If that makes sense, versus like an art form. Because I myself, like I feel like the art itself isn't and the character itself isn't something like of my creation. It's more mimicry. And so that's for
Mm.
me, maybe I don't view it as art. I view it as like a challenge to try to like achieve would be like the more accurate way I would view it. That there are people who I would say who cosplay for purely the sake of the art. Like I've got friends who helped me create like I'm not sure if you've seen Bleach before, but they
Hmm.
helped me create the jawbone for the Sarah Espada. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, John, you just do this. And they were like,
Oh
see?
wow.
I was like, well, first of all, how did we get here? It's only been
Hmm.
15 minutes and I've been staring and I haven't seen it. So there's people who are like where they truly make it an art. I'm always so impressed by that. But I'm like lost. I'm like, help me keep up, like walk me through it again. And then they did, and it was very helpful. And
Hmm.
if I had the opportunity to do it again to create that art, I would try, but I don't know if I'd be as successful as when they helped me.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's interesting. I've never really done cosplay before. Maybe I think once. I think I was Clark Kent one time, and maybe, yeah, and I love that one. That one was a really good look, and I really liked that look because I liked how my body looked as well, and I felt that. there was a sense of artistry that came from trying to look as fit as I possibly could to kind of match whatever this character looked like.
Mm.
And then there's also like just the art form of the human body in of itself. I mean, I didn't know that, lean abs could result in a lack of sleep. But I feel like a lot of people in society would, they revere this lean abdomen popping out kind of body. And that actually was something that always affected me in dance because getting lean is not easy for me to do. So when I was walking around with my Janet Jackson abs and whatnot, that wasn't easy. That was not easy. So I would show everybody that I possibly could show that that's how I looked because
You go.
it was such a level of discipline for me to even achieve that and do that. But then I feel like it's nice, especially in the dance community now, and hopefully more so in the cosplay world, that we're allowing different kind of bodies to be these characters, be in these costumes, dance on these stages with like Beyonce and Janet, and it still be not only widely acceptable, but enhance the show to like all of these different levels. So that's great now.
I'm 100% of you can do anything in any size. Like there's just one guy who was like uh he'd call himself like overweight or fluffy, I think, in the videos. Like you're too big, like there's no way you could do that. And then he'd do like a human flag. And I was like, first of
Hmm.
all, look, I was like, why would you ever tell this man he can't do shit? Because he just did,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Um, so that was like, yeah, anything, do anything in any size, as long as like the biggest thing that I've learned is that exercise in general decreases all cause mortality. So whatever size you are, whatever you like to do, whatever your body is, as long as you're working out, you're less likely to die, and I love that for you.
Mm.
Do whatever makes you happy. As far as like the human body and the aesthetic, and this may be like wild, and this may be kind of controversial, so we may get some. I mean, what do the youth call this? A hot take. Uh, I think Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was the worst thing to happen to our society going forward.
Oh wow.
Because it sent everyone on this quest for unattainable aesthetic, like to be maintained. So Hugh Jackman got shredded for like a couple scenes in a movie, right? And that's like
Hmm.
badass. It takes effort. Like I'm impressed 100%. I've been that lean. It's not easy to do. It's not fun to do.
Hmm.
Power to you. Now everyone's out here trying to maintain that and get that level of lean like all the time. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a mistake. And I've been someone who's like chased that myself. So like it wasn't until later um that like I realized what I was doing to myself. Like I think I got like my testosterone level checked one time when I was as lean as I was. And like
Hmm.
my doctor was like, "You want like testosterone replacement therapy?" I was like, "Bro, what? I'm 30."
Hmm.
Why would you ask me that? He's like, "Because your T levels are abysmal." I was
Oh
like,
really?
but look at my abs. Doesn't this mean anything to you? He's like, and because I'm thicker than most, my BMI was off the chart. And he's like, you're also
Uh-huh.
obese, by the way. I was like, okay, look, now I can't trust
Yeah.
you. How you
Yeah.
can tell me I'm obese and I need to eat? The T thing might be right, but the obese part, get out of here with that. Yeah, no.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that Wolverine movie, whenever we hopped out like the tank after he got
Hmm.
the metal claws in, or the metal injected over his claws.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
ugh, that
Hmm.
worst thing to happen to society. One of the worst things to happen to society, as far as like mental image and like what's feasible and possible and attainable. Horrible.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, I remember those days. I mean, there was never anything that I felt like I couldn't attain. I never wanted to look like Mr. Jackman at all, but there was, I mean, people like Usher.
mm,
Um, I definitely like admired Janet's. body and her discipline. I remember the first time that I saw her, like you could see we were in the nosebleeds in the stadium. That was when she was doing these huge stadium tours. And I swear like I could see her abs from like way, way, way in the back. And it was so inspiring to me to that she worked that damn hard and the show was just amazing. And it was like this 2.5 hour show and minimal breaks. I thought that it was incredible. So I wonder if like maybe this unattainable goal of like the aesthetic could be diluted by some realistic expectations and people can find find a healthy balance. Um yeah, I don't know. But was he like was it like upper body for him that was like super super like stacked, I think? Didn't he have like a huge chest or shoulders or something like that?
He was ginormous and lean, and kind of it didn't make sense.
I feel
Uh,
like I need to look that up so that I can really see what I'm looking at. I mean, but he looked like Wolverine. I'll tell you that
even
much.
yeah, he was
He,
like huge, he was jacked and like shredded as hell. And I think there is like I think there's a way that you can find like balance. It's just like balance doesn't always look like how you think it would look originally.
yeah.
So like for example, currently I'm like 233 pounds and like a caliper
Okay.
myself, I'm around like 10 to 12% body fat, which is like a really like healthy place to be.
Wow.
And like I had my hormonal health checked while I'm at this body weight, and like my doc's like your T levels are great, like everything's good. I was like, yes, I've done it. But I was like, I don't have abs, and that kind of makes me feel bad. Like I want to look like Goku, so how do I? And then it just kind of comes to this part where like you just like accept, like I may not, I'm not an anime character. I wish. I may be a main character, but I'm not an anime character. And
Yeah. Uh-huh.
what is feasible and attainable, like and maintainable for me, doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean that like I can't be happy or can't be proud of what my body looks like, where it's at, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of like the journey of self-love, I guess is what you call it for me and my body is something that I'm ever endeavoring to get better at.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at these photos. It does seem like this ain't easy
So,
to do that. But I'm glad that you're actually taking the time to get things checked out. I think especially like at this age and really just, for me as a black person in America, like it's hard to trust doctors and medical professionals anyway because a lot of the BMI stuff and a lot of these levels are not necessarily culturally um I don't know, competent. So something that's the levels that are going to work for one demographic might not be a level that's going to work for another demographic. And they're going to be really quick to tell people that they're overweight when they're not, or really quick to tell people that something is low or high when it's not. Um, or maybe it is, but that's actually not really the focus. So I know for me, anytime I used to go to the doctor, they're looking for anything that is predominantly seen in black men, which I think is great, but they would often miss like other things that were going on with me, which I think ultimately it ended up. I almost had a heart attack one time. This was, oh my gosh, when was this? 5 years ago. So I was like 30
30.
and I almost had a heart attack. Yeah, it was stress and it was so funny because it seemed to be such a shock for this doctor that I would be under high levels of stress because a lot of people do not believe that Black people are in pain when we say that we're in pain. They do not believe that we're hurting when we're saying that we're hurt or when we're saying that we're sad. They do not really take us seriously like how they need to take us seriously. So, I'm sitting up and I'm going to these doctors, and the only thing that these doctors are telling me is I need to stop eating so much fried chicken. And I'm like, well, you know what? I actually don't really even eat that much fried foods. I'm pretty good on my sweets and my desserts. I have an equal balance. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm watching my intake with alcohol and all of these things, but no, I feel like something ain't right. And the only thing that this man could tell me is that I needed to lay off the Popeyes. And I thought that that was really, really, really tragic. And it really led me to yeah, like I was in the hospital for about 2 days while they had to like get everything together. They had to like inject me with all of these fluids. They had to monitor my heart. I had to do the whole thing. So I actually just left my new cardiologist just yesterday.
Mm.
Um, he's all right. Is not really ideally what I would like. I feel like he's a little still not connected all the way to me like how I would like him to be, but he's a lot better than the other guy.
What something I learned is how you connect to the person that's supposed to help you is like can be so pivotal to like growth, safety. Like, because if you don't feel like something is a safe space, if you don't feel like you're being heard, like even if the doctor may be right, which obviously in your case he wasn't, like
Hmm.
why would you accept what like they have to say, right? Because they're not even trying to connect with you. They're not even trying to hear you. Like the level of empathy just isn't there. Um, and that's crazy that that happened. Like I think I forgot the statistic, but it is alarming. I think it was over like half of like Caucasian doctors like that felt like black people had like a higher pain tolerance than like
Yeah.
white people. I forgot the statistic, but it was alarming.
And it's not just Caucasian doctors. It's everybody who is not black. They
100%.
swear they swear that we have a higher pain tolerance to this day. And it's funny because they do that study once every about 10, 15 years, and the results still have not changed. Where so now we're finding that even younger doctors who are in their 30s and 40s, they still feel the same way as these old ass doctors who are 60, 70 years old who swear that we are just not in pain and that we have a high pain tolerance. That's why women have a higher mortality rate. Black women have a higher mortality rate in childbirth than anybody else. Because when they're saying, "Hey, this actually really, 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 really hurts," the nurse don't pay us any attention, or black women any attention. The doctor doesn't pay them any attention. And while they're trying to give birth, they literally die in 2025 in America at a higher rate than anybody else because we sit up and we ignore what people are saying based off of the stereotypes and the perceptions that come with just being black and existing while black in this world. So that's been a hard thing for me to navigate in literally every facet of my life. But dance made it okay a little
It's
bit.
really cool. It's crazy because it's like I know technically like when you're African American, like life can be difficult because obviously like racism, oppression, and like all these things, and yeah, like I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
like because I am who I am, things I got to experience. Like I got to go to Howard and meet cool people like you and like
yeah,
a lot of my friends, and like I wouldn't trade that experience. Like to this day, I've done some traveling. I'm an adult. I'm in my 30s. Been in different countries, and there to this day there was nothing like a Howard house party. I was like, this is.
yeah.
Have you ever watched Invincible, the animated cartoon show?
I think so. Yeah.
There's a
Hmm.
scene where they're like doing tryouts for the new Guardians of the Globe,
Hmm.
and Omni-Man is sitting there like up on his high horse, like looking down. He's like pathetic, right? And
Hmm.
that's me. Like whenever I go party, and I'm like, this is such a disappointment. Like if I could take y'all back to Howard,
Yeah.
if I could show you what Howard in the early
Yeah.
2000s, if you
Yeah.
understand, get a glimpse, peer into the peer past the veil, and see what a
Yeah.
true party was. Chef's kiss. Now I'm just disappointed.
Absolutely.
That's why I don't go outside anymore.
You need to. I need to go outside a little bit more too. I mean, I sit in my apartment a lot and I just do things to entertain myself, but it really would be nice if I could find a community out here that is at least similar. And I think also the cool thing about Howard is just how intelligent everybody is. I mean, it's we're black and we're beautiful and we're just so smart. And I remember being just so inspired by everything around me. There was, I think it was in the A building for some financial aid thing, and they had you're sitting in this narrow kind of waiting area, I guess, and it was these two gentlemen who were sitting right next to me, and they're talking, and one person I think could have been from Africa, and another person is from like the Caribbean, and they're talking about their lives, and then all of a sudden they start talking about their ties to maybe like a Spanish speaking country or they would frequently visit or something like that. And then all of a sudden, one of them was like, "Are you okay to continue this conversation in Spanish?" And the other one was like, "Absolutely." And then they just started speaking Spanish, and then it just blew my mind. And for I think some people, maybe like in other areas, that's so normal. But for me, to see Black people doing it was so just not what I was used to. And I thought that it was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen at the time. And then that was just the beginning. That was like my freshman year. So then, like, every time I turned around, like, everybody had been somewhere. Everyone had done something. Everyone had lived in another country. Everyone was a valedictorian. Or there were people who they got an opportunity to kind of like fix and adjust their educational behaviors and their academic behaviors that maybe they had in high school that wouldn't work for Howard, but Howard still gave them an opportunity. So then we were like, we're bringing in everybody. So it wasn't like just this elitist um, institution where the only people who are here are just these like incredibly like astute, best and the brightest kind of thing because we have money and we're in the upper echelons of this is this. It's literally everybody. People who are in poverty, people who come from nothing, people who have no global experience, people who have only stayed on their block, and then people who have literally been all over the world. So it was just really nice to be there and experience that. I miss it.
I miss it too. I haven't been back to like a hard homecoming. That probably should be something I
Yeah,
endeavor.
me neither. Mm-mm.
We'll make it a mission sometime soon.
Yeah, we should go.
We should go. You and me. All right.
Hmm.
Not probably not this upcoming one, but maybe the one after that. We'll see what we can do. I'm getting back
Okay.
into training right now. I'm trying to get serious, and so I don't want to. I don't want to what do you call it? Overpromise and under deliver.
Mm,
But we're gonna pull it off. Uh,
okay.
Legit. So you've kind of told me a lot about some of your past experiences, and we've kind of talked about highs and lows. I want to know what's currently going on well in your life right
Mm, I don't know.
now.
Let me see. What's going on? Well, um, I think I'm working on my relationship with some family members. And I think that that process, it's incredibly slow, but I think that it's going well. I think it's going better than what it ever has been. It's cool because it was funny because when I met your parents, it was first of all, they're wonderful. And
Yeah.
I was so taken out of my element that y'all spend time together. And I was so taken out of my element that you you all know things about each other and y'all sit and watch movies together just because. And that was just so strange to me. And then it's like, yeah, like invite your friends over and now here I am and I'm just hanging out and dapping up your dad like and I feel like I'm just a part of this family and it was so nice to be able to be in that. And I remember like from time to time thinking like, I don't know what this is like. Like I have literally never seen this in my life. And then you had, I think maybe it came up in your memories on social media. There's a picture of you at our graduation, and I think it's you, and maybe your mom is hugging you, and then you are looking at your dad. It's this gaze that you're like giving to your dad that like you're kind of beaming like you know that he's proud of you, and then your mom is embracing you. My dad didn't come to my graduation, so I like I don't know what that is like, and I feel like that is just so incredible. But me and my parents, we're working on it, so I feel like that's something that is going well.
Well, hey, I'm proud of you for like obviously like making connections and or reconnecting with family is like really hard. I know that yeah, like me and my parents like we get along pretty well now, but we've definitely had like our ins and outs, our spats like any other family. And I've been doing a lot of mental health reading and like uh essentially like some of the books that I've read essentially were like, yo, if you're reading this book, you probably messed up, right? Oh, yeah. You're human. You're supposed to mess up.
Mhm,
Your parents are human and
mhm.
they're going to mess up. And it, I heard it and I didn't understand it. And now whenever I hear it, like it kind of resonates with me deeper and deeper. It's like hurt people.
Absolutely.
And like even if it's on accident, right? So like my dad had like a rough childhood with his dad. His dad was, military, so like it was hard up in that house.
Hmm.
And And so, like, the only way he knew how to parent was the way he was parented, right? Like, it's not like he read, like, probably wouldn't be great if he did, but he didn't read a bunch of books about like soft parenting and like this and that,
Hmm.
or like what to do if your kid's like somewhere on the spectrum, like, do you treat them differently or how that works or something like that.
Hmm.
And, and so he didn't understand like parenting that. And then I was like, and I got mad for a while. I was like, come on, Dad, like, I was a really obese kid and I got picked on and like he was like, yeah, well to help you get your self-esteem up, like I took you like to clubs to hang out with me and my friends or we like danced and like did X, Y, and Z and like, had like people talk to you to get your confidence up. I was like, bro, I just need to lose some weight and work out for real. Like we just needed to go on a diet as a family. That would have been like ideal. But he he took the action that he thought was best at the time. And even if it wasn't an effective strategy, I gotta sit there and be like, give him credit for trying because he was a because hurt people. And it wasn't on purpose. He was doing the best he had with the tools he had. And so that was something that I learned to do like as I've been like growing, learning, and healing is just trying to see someone where they're at and like through their own experience. There's a really good book I'm reading called Secure Relating, and I don't leave home without it. That's right here.
Hmm.
Um, and it's like really giving me insight into like how different people like react and cope to stress. And then like so like if you can see because there's a spectrum, you have blue, green, red. Green is like you're secure and safe. Red is like you're upregulated and you're like anxious. Blue,
Hmm.
you're downregulated and you're avoidant. And it's like, and if you can see where someone is on the spectrum or how they're going, you can have kind of have like a strategy about how to interact with them and to like get everyone back to a green place where we can have good conversation. And that's where like me and my family are now. Like sometimes like I'll upregulate because uh I would say I'm an outdoor cat when it comes to like daytime activities. I want to be outside. I want to get some sunlight. I love to play disc golf. It's my thing. And I'm like, family, can we go outside? And my parents go, we can go to the movies. I was like, okay. I said
Hmm.
outside. The movie theater is 5 minutes away, and we will be inside for the next 3 hours if we do that. I said outside. Help me. Like, meet me here.
Hmm.
And then, like, essentially like trying to find a way that compromises where we get to do something together. Like, hey, can we just like go out and go for a walk and meet there and then do something from that? So like that book's really helped me like understand it and make those strides to let me connect better with my parents.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you got to meet my parents. I did not know it was that magical of an experience. Uh, I'm glad A, you felt that way, and B, you're obviously invited to come back.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
at some point in time, we are doing. Think I told you I'm trying to take my mother to a Pilates studio to get a Pilates
Hmm.
workout in.
Yeah.
You you ever see like a kid and their parent like fight over trying to pull a child's tooth out because it was like wiggly?
Hmm.
That's like the fight I feel like I'm doing when trying to get my mom to come to Pilates. It's just like, hey, like let's do Pilates. Like, I don't know. Of like, why are you fighting me?
Hmm.
I'm trying to help you. So that's like that current struggle. So I will need help, and you're obviously welcome to join this Pilates workout. It's gonna hurt for her and me, and probably for all those involved.
Yeah, I have not taken a Pilates class in a very, very, very long time, but I'm excited. I'll do it.
I've had like probably one Pilates lesson from like an ex-girlfriend because she was a Pilates instructor, a really good one. But
Hmm.
it'll be my first like Pilates group class struggle with a group of people.
Okay.
What book are you currently reading, or what was the last book you read that either like moved you or impacted you?
It's funny because somebody had my homegirl Helona, she went to Howard too. We were talking about really, I was talking about kind of like my qualms with religion and just trying to understand why certain people are doing certain things within their religion, why certain people believe certain things within the frameworks of their religion. So she recommended a couple of books to me. Um, Especially as it relates to the Black church,
Mhm.
which is where I came from. Like I came from a very Southern Black Baptist church
Mhm.
on my dad's side, and then my mom's side was more Methodist kind of deal. So we're hooting and hollering a lot in church, and we're doing backflips, and everybody's falling out and stuff like that. But I was talking to her about the pieces that I felt were missing, and is to really understand why certain things were put in place, what systems were put in place back then, and why we as a people are just so quick to just accept it as opposed to doing research on our own. So she recommended a couple of books to me. One is Defending Black Faith, Answers to Tough Questions About African American Christianity.
Mhm.
And I think that that one might be the one that I might start with. And then there's another one that I found to be really interesting. It's called Black Religion and Black Radicalism.
Okay.
I find that I never really have like common opinions. My opinion is usually different from everybody else's opinion. I'm always the person that's going to question. I was a person that was, in church saying, how do we really know? And instead of my dad, um, or anybody in my family going, okay, well, here's some tools that can maybe guide you in a direction that can help you answer these questions. They would just be my ass, essentially, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why the hell would you say something like that? What's wrong with you, you demon, you heathen? And, so when I went to Howard, actually, um, I, even when I was in high school, I was trying to immerse myself in just Black Christianity because I felt like everybody who's Black in my area is a Christian, so I have to be because I'm Black and that's what I'm supposed to do. And when I am not doing this, then all these Black people are giving me the side eye and they don't want to be around me. So I really immersed my like I was in all the choirs and stuff and all the chapel stuff and the Christian Brothers stuff at Howard. And I found that when I was there, they still didn't fuck with me anyway because I was gay. So I would be in there and they would treat me like shit because I was gay. You remember Honesty Box? Back in the day, they would write in my honesty box all kinds of foolishness. I'm going to hell and all of this other kind of stuff. It is funny. What's really funny about that is that I didn't even know that I was gay. Everybody thought that I was in denial, and I was just like, I mean, I honestly don't really know. It wasn't until I was like 19 to where I was like, oh yeah, I think that this might be a thing. But prior to that, when I was 18, like people, it's like it's this weird space to be in for you to be constantly told that you are going to hell for something that you don't know that you're doing yet. And apparently I was doing it. And apparently it's just the demon is just on me. So, because of all of this, I have always, always, always been just skeptical about a lot of things and why it seems that we're using our faith, whether it's the Christian faith or whether we're Muslim, whether we're Hebrew Israelites, whether we're anything. How much of this are we using to, get closer to salvation, and how much of this are we using to like still enslave and then capture each other? So she recommended me these books like literally less than 12 hours ago. So,
Those are gonna be some good
um,
reads.
huh?
Those are going to be some good read based off everything you said thus far. I was like, those are definitely going to be some good reads for you.
Yeah, and I mean she's and just shout out to my friend. I love Helena. She's an excellent writer. She's an excellent minister. She's preached before at prominent churches. I think her home church is Trinity in Chicago, and that's the same church that Barack Obama, or at least Reverend Wright, who was the pastor at the time, that was Barack Obama's pastor.
Mhm.
So there's connection there. And she's just all around great. So I'm glad that she was able to, instead of judging me, instead of being so uncomfortable by my truths about skepticisms of religions, she was like, well, here goes some books. So I'm really excited to read those books and to learn a little bit more. And not because I desire necessarily to be religious, it's because I've had these questions since I was 14, 15 years old, and now maybe finally somebody is going to answer them as opposed to just beat my ass.
That is, I I'm excited for you like to potentially get some answers. I kind of had like this weird relationship with the religion. My parents are like super religious. Like my mom will even ask me like, John, will you go to church with me? And I'm like, I'm not really with that. I don't see, not that I don't see the benefit in having faith in like a higher power or something like that. Do I believe there's like an elevated consciousness that we all have access to? Like maybe, but the way Christianity was always viewed and pushed, like I was always taught like, yo, God is like, he's this like ever caring person who like cares about you and like wants you to do better, be better, and will always forgive you. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then like he wiped out half of Earth's population with the flood. I was like, that's real weird and contradictory to what you said. Or you said he loved people and he forgave them. Why'd he kill them? Or
Yeah,
like God did, or like, you know, these people, like, God is accepting of all people, even if you don't understand him, don't know him. Like we all go to him. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then like you read the Bible and there was people who didn't believe in him, and then he sent a plague upon them and killed them. And I'm like, that's you're I'm being told like X, and then I keep seeing Y, and I like it doesn't align well with me. And then like the nail in the head was it was like there was a tweet, and and this is what like kind of like first like Black Christianity, where I was like, ah, okay. It was like, and like it's always the reply. Usually it's like I saw lately the tweet I've seen is, God sees you in the self-checkout line, right? And then, but the first tweet I ever saw was, you know God sees y'all out there sucking dick, right? And the reply to both of those tweets is always the same. It was like, if he looked over 400 years of slavery,
Yeah.
that this in the grand scheme of bad, that's not that bad. And
Yeah.
I was like, look, I don't have a counter argument for that. If I was like, look, 400 years is a real long time. That's a lot of harm and a lot of people who prospered off a lot of harm. And if the people who prospered on that level of, like insidious behavior are forgiven without
Hmm.
consequence, I was like, do I want to believe in that?
Hmm.
So like I've never had like this huge like connection to religion, and my mom gets really upset at me for it. So mom's gonna be really mad when she sees this episode. Pray for me next time I go to her house. Like, I saw you on that episode with John, so you might get it too. So sorry.
Yeah, and I think, but it just still goes back to the fact that you already know that you're going to share this thing with your family. And for me, it's not even a thought that my parents are going to see this because we don't have that relationship. And that's another reason why, I just go back to the fact that y'all's relationship is so wonderful, maybe compared to, and of course, by no means do I want to um what's the word, I don't want to dismiss the issues that y'all probably did have in y'all's relationship at certain times, but I really would like to stress to you that you are blessed beyond so, especially me being an educator, me working with the populations that I'm working in. And that also means that I'm blessed too. Like even the fact that me and my parents are trying is a huge, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity, whether it's because they don't know their parents or whether it be because their parents are dead or strung out on a drug or incarcerated or something like that. There is a level of privilege, and there is a level of just true unadulterated just blessing and just luck that I admire about my life, that I still have another day to maybe try to fix it with my mom and my dad. But the relationship that it appears that you have with your family is something that I think that people all over the country would beg for.
I will the next time I get into it with my parents, I'm going to do my best to remember this conversation. And I might even reach out. It's like, remember when you told me I was blessed? Help me see that again. Help, because I'm about to
Yeah,
lose it over here.
yeah,
So know that
trust me.
I may lean on you at some point in time in the future when I'm real mad because some of my family did something
Yeah,
real stupid.
yeah. I've
Forgot
had to work on it too.
you didn't meet my
My
sister. I forgot. So you met mom, dad. You didn't meet my sister. My sister is, bless her heart, is the the I would say like we're polar opposites. We love each other, but we're not very close because of
Mhm,
oil and water as far as like personality things we talk about. And my parents are like, she loves you so much. I was like, then why is she a butthead 99% of the time? Like, I don't understand.
mhm,
It's easy. Don't be a butt. We could be close friends. We could be the best of friends.
yeah,
Go on quests together.
mhm,
Like, she's not trying to be a butt. I was like, that's crazy that you would say that to me. Because like I saw her just
yeah,
think something over and go be a butt. Like, for example, my parents drive some pretty nice cars. Um, and so my sister was in like high school and she was talking to like her counselor. And she was like, I'm gonna bring my dad's car to school tomorrow and impress my friends. And the counselor was like, on a list of bad ideas, that's like a really bad idea. I wouldn't do that. She's like, no, no, I'm gonna do it. And she told her friends, like, hey, I'm gonna bring my dad's really nice car to school tomorrow. They're like, what? Oh, it's gonna be so cool. So my dad's out of town for a trip, and my sister's back in the car out of the garage, and my mom's car is parked behind and to the right. And she backs out and swipes my dad's car against my mom's car,
Uh,
and and then runs to the neighbors for help. Didn't go back inside and talk to my mom, just ran to the neighbors, like, hey, I need help. My parents are gonna kill me. The neighbors, like, I don't know what you want me to do. And like I was like, you guys have to understand, that was like a conscious decision to be a butthead. Like people were like, hey, I don't think that's like a good idea. And she was like, nah, y'all are stupid. You're not like me. I'm built different. It's gonna go great. And then you do it, and then like the consequences show up and you're like, yo, why is the world so mean to me? And you're like, you mean the bullets you purposely bit on purpose?
hmm
And so that's, to me, that's my sister that I, love dearly, but sometimes when I drop kick 9 times out of 10, because like there's like a choice of like good versus evil, and she will like 100% of the time be like, oh, why not evil? It's Tuesday.
But,
Evil's,
you
evil's.
know, but again, and of course, I didn't meet her, but I remember that y'all were talking about her. And even when y'all were talking about her, y'all were talking about her as if she was there, I think either that day or the day before, and y'all still had like this, you still had experience with her.
Mhm.
And me, like I have, I have a sister that I haven't seen in, I know, like maybe, maybe 10 years or so. I think I've actually only seen her maybe a handful of times, only maybe 3 times. Um, my father had a oops kind of situation, but this was after my parents' divorce.
Mhm.
And it was actually right before we went to Howard. So I think that she may be like 15 years younger than us. But I don't really see her that often. And then my other siblings, I mean, with my sisters, we really just all do not get along. So when I listen to that story about the car, I'm like, that's actually kind of hilarious. And y'all can sit at the table and remember it and tell these stories, and everybody will have their own different version of what happened. And she's going to be able to be like, yes, like back in the day, I did this really, really crazy thing because I'm human and I wanted to do this thing. And this is what I did. And the result was just that the cars got swiped. Nobody died. Nobody stopped talking to anybody. Nothing blew up. You know what I mean? It's just, it's, and I felt this way about you even when we were in school, because we lived in Slow.
Mhm.
Um, you have just this wonderful life in so many ways. Like the bad that you talk about really ain't that bad. Like it's really not. And it's like, wow, that's actually kind of funny. And okay, so she didn't die. Okay, great. Like I was waiting for you to say, yeah, she got there, she accidentally ran over somebody while she was, and then they had to, and it was like, no, she just swiped the car. I did that too. I've done that a few times. As a matter of fact, I this was so bad. I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. I would borrow my parents' car, which my parents rarely, rarely, rarely let me use their car. But I would borrow my parents' car and I would go visit this boy. And it was so funny because first of all, I used to sneak out to go
Mhm.
see him. And this is actually, remember, I said that I didn't even come out or discover until I was around 19, 18, 19 years old. So this is after I graduated high school. But I used to sneak out to go see him. And and then I would come back before my dad woke up. But then I borrowed my grandma's car one time and I overslept and I woke up and I had like 50,000 missed calls. My mom, my parents have since been divorced, my mom is calling me, and I wake up And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And the guy is like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, my parents are just gonna kill me. That's all. I've been gone. I'm a missing person. My dad's a police officer. So now I'm a missing person. Even though they're not supposed to fucking put that shit in for like 48 hours. Now I'm a missing person because I've been gone for like 12 hours. He probably didn't even discover that I was gone until the morning. So technically, I've really only been gone for like 3 in his head. But the car is gone, and I am with a boy of all people. So that was, and my parents, especially my dad's side of the family, they are very, very, very anti me being gay. I'm not gonna say anti-gay, but I'm gonna say that they are anti me being gay. And that was just oh my God. Oh my God. So I love that for her. I love that she got that experience.
I'll once again, you'll call me Peter, and I'll bring up the story. I was like, yo, Mo actually loves that you got this experience, and she's gonna look at you crazy. I'll be like, no, because you didn't die, and
Yeah.
Dad technically didn't throw you through a window, so like it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse. I'm really trying to learn, and I think that you also helped me with that too, because you were kind of there at a very, very, very low, low, low place in my life because I haven't always been this, it could have been worse kind of attitude. I've usually had this attitude that no, this actually is worse, and this is the worst thing that can happen. And that kind of led into why I had that almost heart attack a couple of years ago. It was just this high level of stress and depression and anxiety and all of this other kind of stuff. But anyway, with my other sisters, we all don't really get along. I have a nephew that I love, 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 love dearly, and I've never met. And I think they're only about a year old. My sister didn't say that she was pregnant. Nobody in my family told me that she was pregnant, with the exception of a cousin. And this cousin told me she said it in a way that suggested that the pregnancy was very early. And she said it in a way that suggested that my sister may or may not keep the baby or have the baby all the way to term, that maybe she's going to do an abortion or do something else and just be done. And then my cousin kind of stressed that I shouldn't tell anybody because my sister hadn't made the choice yet of what she was going to do. Now, I don't know if my cousin was accurate in this, because when I finally talked to my brother made it seem like that was not true.
Mm.
So I don't know if my cousin was just misunderstanding. I don't know if it purposely was a lie to kind of deflect me from
Reaching out.
trying to reach out, but I didn't know that my sister had a baby until after my grandmother had passed away. And my grandmother passed away 2023,
Mhm.
2024. I haven't seen my grandmother since 2019. So when she I made a choice to stop talking to her, and just to be done. And that's a whole nother fucking episode. But I made a choice to be done. And so when she died, I did go to her funeral to support my mom. Because at the end of the day, as much as me and my mom didn't always get along, I love my mom, and my mom just lost her mom.
Right.
So I went to the funeral. My sisters had attitude the whole fucking time that I was there. Like, why are you here, nigga? Like, that's how they was looking at me. But in the program or whatever, it had my nephew's name, but my nephew wasn't there. So I didn't know if maybe she had a miscarriage. I don't know if the baby was, I didn't know. And
Right.
now I'm scared to ask because it's like we haven't spoken. Um, I'm looking at you in the pew and you're rolling your eyes and you're clapping your hands and shit like that in the fucking all ghetto and ridiculous in this funeral home. So I'm like, okay, you really don't fuck with me, huh? So it's like, do I really do I ask about this? And especially like if it's something negative, like what if the baby died? What if there was a miscarriage and she's just honoring this baby by still giving them a name and all of this, and they're dead, and now I'm re-traumatizing my sister. So anyway, all of these things that were in my head, I just went ahead and said, I'm not gonna say anything. So even at that funeral, I knew that the baby had a name, but I did not know that the baby was born. So I still am kind of living with, even though me and my mom were working on our relationship, me and my dad, the people in my family that I was talking to, none of them told me that she was pregnant. My immediate family, cousin, yes, but none of them told me. And it always made me feel like, damn, y'all collectively other me. And I think that things like that are kind of I don't know if you're ever going to meet my family. I don't we don't even hang out together. We're never in the same room.
Well, once again, my if you ever want a place to escape or a place to hang out, my family and me, we're always welcoming. Pretty much once you met the parents, you've dapped up my dad. Congratulations, welcome to the family.
Yeah.
So once again, if it ever gets hard and you're like, John, are you in San Antonio? I need to come hang at the house. Could we watch a family movie and shit? And I'd be like, please pick a better movie than Conclave, and you're down, and you're
Oh my God. You were so bored. That won an Oscar, I think.
we were a really boring movie, bro. Like I need someone to karate chop somebody, right? Like, 'cause
Yeah.
again, I'm not really into Christianity, right? So like maybe if you
Uh,
it was very Game of Thrones, like right, but Game of Thrones, someone gets knifed in the back every 2 episodes, you know what I'm saying? Someone gonna die.
yeah.
But like the the fact that it was like, about the Pope and like the most intense thing in the movie was when man snuck into the deceased Pope's room and like
Yeah.
cried in his chair, like just miss my bro. I was like, all right, like that's fair. I respect those feelings are valid, but like what this that is that is an honest feeling, but that's not intense. That's day to day. Like if my bro passed, like I'm crying. That's not like a unique experience that needs to be intensified further for you to connect with me. Eh.
Yeah.
So once again, Two Guns was amazing. Wonder why? Because there was two dudes with
Uh-huh.
guns, and it was
Yeah.
action packed, and it was Denzel and Mark Wahlberg, and I loved it. And I wish they made a sequel.
Yeah, that one was good.
And I'm glad you stayed for that one. And my mom
Yeah.
didn't even watch that one, so shame on her. You know what? Yes, you get to pick the movie next time. Please don't pick anything like Conclave. Ooh. What piece of advice would you give to like your younger self or anyone watching? Or like you could even say something in case your nephew ever comes across this video. Like what would you want to say to someone, your younger self, or anything?
That is such an overwhelming question because I feel like what might work for one person might not work for another person. All I can do is do what worked for me and go from there. For my as far as my nephew is concerned, I hope that he knows that I love him. Whether or not, we ever meet, if we never meet, you know, I don't know. I hope that we can. And he's always on my mind. And every once in a while, I don't know if people in my family are supposed to, but every once in a while, I will get a picture of him and I see what he looks like. And he looks a lot like me.
Hmm.
So I hope that I hope that he knows that Uncle Mo loves him so, so very much. And Uncle Mo loves his mother very, very, very much. And I'm hopeful that we can all get to a place where we are together one day. But I think as far as advice, I really feel like I would suggest that we all keep learning and never be afraid to never be too smart to where you can't change your opinion
Dang.
on something. I never thought years ago that I would ever have a good relationship with my mom. I never thought that shit. I never thought that shit.
Mm.
My mom, to me, I mean, was out of her mind as far as, anybody was concerned. My dad was even more out of his mind. Actually, my mom was probably worse. But for us to get to a place where, like, I call my dad now, I call my mom now. I just spoke to my dad, obviously, for Father's Day. My dad sends care packages every once in a while. I just spoke to my mom yesterday. It's just never be afraid to change your opinion. Never be too big or too just to say, you know what, maybe it used to be like this one time, but it's not like that now. Or even if it is like that right now, maybe we can work together to change it. Always grow, change, pivot, and adjust when necessary.
That is sage level wisdom that I hope everyone listening to this like gets to experience because you're right. When confronted with new information, you need to be able in a perfect world, you should be able to go, what I was taught or what I originally learned was bad, right? Like, and that's okay, or was incorrect. Now presented with new information, this is better. This is okay.
Hmm.
Last question I have for you for today is what would you like the name of this episode to be?
Uh, I don't know, probably words to my nephew.
Words to my nephew. Okay, I like that one. Words to my nephew. Man, Mo, thank you for coming on and having like this really like authentic conversation with me. As I told you prior to getting on here, and I guess what I want to tell the rest of the listeners is I think we're always confronted with this overwhelming image of people who are successful and not struggling or having like the best time and this, that, and the third. And that's not what real life is. Real life is connection, conversations, learning from one another through each other's experience and growth and reflecting. Like, I'm really glad we
Hmm.
had this conversation today because I get to walk away feeling blessed that I have a connection with my family. I did not feel that earlier today before this conversation. I got that now because we had an authentic conversation today about our life experiences. I get to call my mom and dad later and be like, you know what? I'm blessed to have you guys in my life and for us to have the relationship we have. I'm grateful. And I was reminded of that today because of the conversation. So, like I said, it means a lot. So thank you for that. And I kind of want
Hmm.
listeners and viewers to learn that. Like, hopefully, if you've had, if they've got a life situation, circumstance closer to yours or closer to mine, based off what you said and what you experience and what goes on in your work life, they're still blessed, and that they could learn that. And then I guess lastly, I want to hopefully one day somehow get this in front of your nephew, and hopefully he will get to learn what a badass his uncle is.
Aw, yeah, I'm a badass baby.
I
It's been a long journey, and I'm here. I didn't think I was gonna make it, but I'm doing it, and I'm blessed to have my family, regardless of whether or not we talk or anything like that too often. I have some badass family members. We don't take no shit. That's probably why we don't talk right now. Okay, ain't nobody taking shit from nobody taking shit. Okay, we make each other mad because we know how to say it. We know how to get under that skin. Okay, we know how to light it up and shut it down. So shout out to my sisters and shout out to my brothers, shout out to my parents because they gave me the gift of gab. They gave me the gift of being able to vocalize and communicate how I feel and do it passionately. And now I'm just learning how to do that with love as well. And I appreciate you for always being there and always reminding me that there is love there, extending your family to me and letting me kind of borrow them when I need them. It's wonderful. Thank you.
welcome, bro. Well, signing off now. This was fan fucking tastic, and we will do more soon.
All right. Take care.